Good morning. I'm getting ready to leave for service, but I thought to do this video to honor this one man of God that has really poured much into my life. Pastor Banky. I'll drop his video, I'll drop his picture, and probably I'll also put the link to his website, just in case you want to get his messages. How did I come to meet Pastor Banky? It all started in 2012, 2013. Not necessarily I started that period, because it's more like a build-up. Everything started in 2009, 2010, when I gained admission to study metallurgical and material engineering. And during that period, I've initially been exposed to books, self-help books, motivational books, books on finances. But then I got into school and I was around these people that felt material prosperity, academic prosperity was like you cannot live if you think about these things, if you're into these things, like if you reason too much about these things. And that sort of rubbed off on me. So what happened, I became more, in quotes, heavily minded. And then this stuff started suffering, academics started suffering, this, that. But then fast forward to 2012, 2013, yeah, I had flunked out of school, obviously, because I was doing badly. And then I gained admission to study estate management. But before this period, I went for my first missions conference in Abuja in 2013. That should be end of October into November. Because I remember I left that camp on the 3rd of... I should have that date on my Bible. I left the camp on the 3rd, yeah. We left camp on the 3rd, being a Sunday, 3rd of November 2013, being a Sunday. Yeah, because I got this Bible from that missions conference in Abuja. When I left that missions conference, I went to the Bible. I started studying this Bible. I started from Matthew and all the way to Revelation. What did I want to know? I wanted to know whether Christianity was against material prosperity. I wanted to know whether it was wrong to actually wanted to be successful. And I blocked out everybody. I blocked out church. I blocked out, because I even had a problem with my mom this period because I refused going to church. But she had less concern because I was always with my Bible, and she testified that. Because when my mom reported me to her sister, her elder sister, came to me, I was like, but let me not give you much detail, but one thing she said was that your mom said you are always with your Bible. This is the Bible that told you not to go to church. Yeah, I was born Catholic actually. So she was like, if you don't want to go to Catholic church anymore, at least there are other churches you can go to. Is it the part you want to start going to? That's a story for another day. So I blocked out everybody because I didn't want any external information to influence what I was trying to do. And then one scripture that stood out for me was when Paul said, he that cannot provide for his household is worse than an infidel. And then I was having a conversation with one of my friends, Victor. Victor will be coming to my house today with his wife. And Victor was like, because he was like me, not necessarily like me, but he had this conversation with his brothers, and they were like, don't be so earthly minded that you are earthly irrelevant. Man, that came through for me. That stood out. Then I went back to school. I aced all my courses. It was the first class for us, but that aside, let me go back to the gist. How did I get to meet Pastor Banky? My academic advisor, Mr. Jonathan Odu, attends Pastor Banky's meetings. So he actually wanted me to come with another sister, whom I had influence over, because he knew if I was going to come, and he tells the sister that I was coming, so the sister would want to join me to come. But before then, I had actually sat under administration of Pastor Banky while in Nsukka campus. He came for the program was titled Champions League, because everybody talked about Pastor Banky in Nsukka. So I thought he was, and he uses the internet. So I thought he was this mega. I thought he was one of these mega pastors in Enugu. So I was reluctant with attending, but just because of this man had influence over me, so I had to just oblige him. And then I walked in. I sat down because when we walked in, the place was small. Okay, let me tell you a comment. This is my friend. This sister I went with said, because she didn't have a Bible, and she was like, Pastor Banky's church wouldn't. Pastor Banky's church would definitely have a projector, and I'll be projecting scripture, so I don't need it. I went there. There was actually no projector, so that place was more like unconventional. Everything I expected would be there, weren't there. Because a thought I had about mega churches is that these are churches that talk more of money, raising offering. But then it was different. Okay, while I was in that Pastor Banky's meeting, the message he taught that day was the lesson of delayed manna. I'm saying a lot. The lesson of delayed manna. If you want to get that teaching, pastor.ng, that message is under praying in times of adversity. So what he taught that day was the lesson of delayed manna. And then he said something with giving, which I wouldn't want to say. And then that broke my first defense. Because throughout, while I sat down, they say guard your heart with all diligence. I was guarding my heart because I didn't want him to come with his own philosophy. I didn't want his philosophy to affect what I had in me. So I was guarding my heart. But then, he said the first one, it broke my defense. It was not as if he was in my head, as if, it's what Pastor Poju would call, I now discovered we were in the same tribe. He now said something that I always said, your parents sent you to school to study. They didn't send you to school to be holding program. If you want to do evangelism, quit school and go to Ogbete. That was another defense he broke. And then I was like, nah, this man is in my tribe. Because then, while in school, I refused doing several things. Anything that was going to affect my academics. My academics came first, sincerely. And that is how it should be. Because most times, when I say, I don't mean you shouldn't serve. But the fact that you are serving doesn't mean you should stop the natural things that you are doing that you should be doing as a student, because you're not serving in the school, thinking favor is going to cover those things. Thinking you wouldn't read and enter an exam hall and then boom, you pass the exam. Magic will happen behind. Now it will not happen. That's the truth of the matter. Because you have to do every other thing that your other classmates who are not serving in that school will be also doing. And if you can't, there's definitely favor will come on you once in a while. But the truth of the matter is, God doesn't support bad behavior. If you don't read, you're going to fail. But that's not the bone of contention of this study. So let's go back to. Then Pastor Banky broke all my defenses. Earlier, I had received an SD card and a headphone. How did I receive that? From Mr. Jonathan. He gave it to me during my class award. This because I was the best in my second year, so I received that. And that flash drive contained Pastor Banky's teaching. But because I said I wasn't going to listen to nobody, I deleted all the teachings and downloaded music into the flash drive. I received similar gifts with another of my classmates, Paul. So after that program, I ran down to the hostel and got Paul's flash drive and I copied all of the teachings there. And that was how I started listening. Then we went on break. I listened and listened and listened and listened. Man, Pastor Banky we are in the same tribe. You know what's called same tribe? That particular meeting, in that particular meeting where I was, then they were still in their old venue around the Tiba Junction, but now they are in Auckland Plaza, right? No, Elim Plaza at alternate, just in case you're in Enugu and you want to. They meet on Tuesdays and on Saturdays. The last time I was in Enugu, I attended the Saturday meeting. He broke my defenses and he kept on breaking them. He introduced me to several other teachers, David Paulson. The day I was at that meeting, that was the period Pastor Poju was to come to Enugu, to Pastor Murphy's church. So we were given the flyer. I don't know if I should still have that flyer. I'm talking about, this should be 2015. I have the messages he preached in that church in my laptop. But when I saw the flyer, I was like, nah, because I still had that defense. That was the first time I was hearing about Pastor Poju. I was saying, Pastor Poju is coming to Enugu, Pastor Poju is coming to, and that was his first, he said it in the message, that was his first time ever of coming to the East. I didn't even, so over time, he introduced me to Pastor Poju, David Paulson, Gary Carpenter, Andrew Womack, just several teachers that have shaped my Christian foundation. And today, I honor you, sir. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate everything you do. And this is also me introducing you to Pastor Banky. Pastor Banky is a wonderful teacher of the Bible. Pastor.ng, Kingdom Word Ministries, kwm.net, just in case, Pastor.ng, just in case you want to get his messages. I would also leave link in the description of this video. So, enjoy. And I think a type of video I'll be making now will be me making commentaries on his teachings. Yes, like the lesson of the late man I talked about, how God uses adversity to reposition us to get the blessing. Because sometimes the reason why we don't get prosperity is because God is trying to like put us at that point where our life doesn't consist in the abundance of things which we possess. But because our neighbor has this, we'll go to God trying to sow seed to get what? Just to be able to compete. Nah, it will not come like that. See, listen to that message. I'll drop a link to that particular message. So, this is it. I need to be in church. This is 9:10. My service starts by 10 o'clock. So I need to prep up more to be in church. Peace.